Hi, this is Sam Reid and also Justin Cauti.
I'm Justin Cauti, and with me is Sam Reid.
This is another film we made, and this is going to be us talking about editing and post.
Yeah, post. This is part 1 of 2 of the post.
That's right. So,
Yeah, this is a film.
yeah, so Justin, what do you want to say first?
I want to say that this one took a long time to get finished.
Yeah,
Not for the reasons you'd think.
we started it in February
No,
2012.
'cause we shot this in March.
It was March? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I'm confused.
Yeah,
So, March 2012.
and then we
And
didn't-
we literally just wrapped this movie today. We put the end credits and everything on it, and it's May the
Ninth.
9th. It's May the 9th, 2013, so it's been over a year. It's ridiculous.
see, like something like Till Death Do Us Part, which is another film we did.
Yeah.
It took us a long time because we were editing it. This one actually just died for a bit,
It went into hiding, it hibernated, it sat in the bowels of Cody's computer for a while there. It fermented.
Yeah, how did you get it from him? Did he just give it to you, or did you ask?
What it was I just eventually I just asked for it. Niev and I were working on her demo reel, and I didn't have any of the edited footage on my computer for her to use. So I contacted Cody. I'm like, can I grab all the files from you? And he's like, sure, bro. So he came over one day and he gave me them, and then I can't remember who suggested it, but we were talking, and obviously I had been thinking about doing that myself because I know he was kind of stagnant with it. So I said, do you have any problem with me kind of like finishing it? And he's like, oh, I don't care, because it was always been planned for me to do the sound anyway. I
Yep.
think
Yeah, it has.
so. I said, are you okay if I just re-edit it? And he's like, oh, I don't give a shit. So
It's
voila.
very comforting words
yeah,
to hear.
from an editor.
I don't give a shit.
I don't give a shit. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I knew obviously he had his heart in the right place.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things actually where it's you get out of school, it's kind of hard, and you're working all the time.
Yeah.
Like we all kind of went through a down period where we stopped doing movie stuff,
Mhm.
But now we're back.
We're back at business, bitch.
That's me and you, Sam. That is
Oh,
me
look
and
at
you.
us. Look at those two sexy gentlemen.
There's a little story where, because Sam's character is gay.
I'm a homosexual.
I leave with Sam
Yeah.
in one of the. Is there one of the shots? I haven't seen it. I don't think.
I
it's in
don't.
the
I
movie.
don't actually think it's in this anymore.
But yeah.
But it was for the
Yeah, we
longest
filmed
time.
Sam and I leaving together because we came in together
Yeah.
and we were gonna leave together. But which is weird because Sam sits for the majority of this in the background,
Yeah.
and I intermingle with girls and Sean
But then somehow you ended up with me.
because we came.
But maybe that's why we
it's
didn't.
like a sting.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like we
It's a
pretend
dare.
we're different
It's a
people.
dare.
We pretend we're different people to get our rocks off. We get off. We're not talking about editing.
Yeah.
I want you when you got Cody's project.
Yeah.
What was your process?
The first process was watching it, and then I had a freak panic attack because I was like, oh my god, this is a mess. I felt like David Hasselhoff drunk with a hamburger. Like
Yeah.
this was my hamburger. Actually, this was not my hamburger.
This was the
This
mess.
this was my shirt being off on the ground.
Yeah.
It was a mess. It was, I don't know, there was a lot. The biggest thing that stood out to me was the sound was terrible, but not for all of it, because one day when we were filming, I guess someone
Oh, I
must have.
forgot about
This
this.
also happened on Till Death. Fucking hate those cameras. But if you plug the microphone into the wrong socket of the camera, it auto levels everything apparently. So we had a couple scenes with Chad and Niev that had the sound levels going up and down, so you could hear the fridge.
When they were talking.
Yeah, you could hear the fridge increase and then come down. It was really bad.
That is,
If you were to take all the music out of this, you would hear it, and it
Yeah.
would be awful. So the music is really doing us a huge favor here, and disguising all of those terrible sound issues.
that I
yeah.
actually forgot about that.
Yeah, that was a major pain
Because
in
on
the
Till
ass.
Death we had it on the whole time.
Yeah.
Right.
But I'll be honest, a lot of the main, I didn't trash all of Cody's edits to his credit. A lot of it is still there, actually. Like all of this is all him.
Yeah.
Still all him. I really just, I kind of went back and re-chose some different shots, and there were some areas that just weren't working at all that I had to scrap and then start over, like the montage. The bathroom scene is a big one.
Probably the dancing scene.
The dancing scenes, yeah.
Yeah.
But a lot of them are still very much Cody's edits. One of the biggest ones was the transitional moments too, between her taking the first shot and then being
going-
drunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's why the exteriors, because we shot we shot those like a month after we finished.
Yeah.
Because remember, we were always like, we have the 500, we should go do this, and we were always like,
yeah,
we'll do it another night. And then one night we were like, we really should do this, considering we're leaving next week.
If we didn't have those exteriors, it would have been fucked. Like, I don't know how we would have fixed all this.
Fade
honestly.
to black with the title card
Exactly.
that said later.
And then, or fade to the welder and then back.
I love the welder.
Who doesn't
we need
like
to get
the
him in
welder?
more movies.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this was another one. Was that shot of her getting up was a lot different in Cody's version, where it was like her legs on the ground, and I didn't have her light on, so her legs looked gray. They look like something hanging in a kosher deli.
Niev's not gonna like hearing that.
I've told that to her in
Okay.
person, and she punched me in the ribs. So now it's for all of us, all of the public to hear.
Yeah.
So I'm sure she'll love that.
Yeah, because I know she didn't like she did not like it when I said I'm doing this shot, which was just her kneeling over toilet. She was like, I don't like that.
Well,
shot.
but then also I decided to have her standing up in it, so it's
which is
less,
a lot better.
Yeah.
Because that's what we just needed to see her puking.
Yeah.
Right? Which
Yeah.
was, like, that's how I looked at it. Right?
Yeah, and this is a scene where I don't know if it was originally intended to jump around like that, but we found it worked better that way.
It did work better that way. That wasn't the original intention. So I'm going to get back to Christine later in the next part 2, but talk a bit about the montage, how you tackled this motherfucker.
Ooh, this is, again, a lot of Cody's similar layouts. It was basically in the script, you know, it was kind of obvious of how to cut it, but he had done a lot of overlays and crazy things, and I was like, well, it wasn't really working, so I was like, I'm just going to use those shots he chose, but not overlay them. I'm just going to cut to each one of them. And I was like, that's great, because we got like the one shot, the glass coming down, then her picking it up and drinking it, and then you can use those in different orders, and it's like rule of thirds, right? You got it right there.
Well, I remember when I was shot listing this movie, the shot glasses, the drinking, were the crux, like the crutch of the montage, because they were supposed to be like you know,
it's
taking shots quickly. It should have dictated the speed up.
Exactly, it's a physical thing that, like you said, dictates how it should be edited. It's like boom, down,
quick,
cut,
nice and quick.
And this was also kind of tricky. I ended up rewriting all of Ken's dialogue. For this, because there's a lot more to it. In fact, we'll probably include Cody's.
Cody Niev's dialogue.
What did I say?
Ken's dialogue.
Oh, sorry, Ken's dialogue. Yeah, Niev's voiceover. In her head, her inner thoughts.
I remember even when
it used to be Cody though. Remember Cody's temp track of him saying it, but it was
that in?
Good. Oh yeah, it'll be on here, I'm sure. But it was originally like a lot longer and a lot more to it. But I just did a quicker one.
I remember Niev and I, when we wrote it, we were like, we're gonna do this again in post.
Yeah,
it's kind of just like one of those things where we need to see the shots.
It was obvious that it was like, okay, this is the kind of thing we want when we're shooting, because you kind of had to hit those moments. But then in editing, you could have the freedom to do whatever, right? And rework it.
So did you do any tweaking with this scene?
Oh please!
Because this shot.
You're feeding me that answer. You know that there's a lot of tweaking here.
I'm trying to get some conversation.
Yeah, I know. I understand. See, you're a great host. You're a great host. This, like Justin said, this shot was awful looking to begin with. I'll probably put some before and after thing on here also. But we had to shoot it in an hour, and the lighting was very flat, and I'm very unsatisfied with the framing.
It sucks even more because this was supposed to be actually a pretty big scene.
Yes. Yeah. But you know what? I've gotten over it.
Yeah, me too.
But there's a lot of color work in here. I spent probably like an hour just to get fine-tuned this shot. Luckily, it's only one shot, because if it was a lot of shots but with that same kind of look, that would have been a pain in the ass. But it was just one shot, and trying to get the skin tones in people's faces, because they were really blown out.
Yeah.
It just, you can kind of tell, like if you look at her face, it's a little weird looking, but compared to what it used to look like, it was awful. And if you look at Bronson when he comes in and when he turns and goes, hey, to like someone off screen, his face is orange.
Yes, yeah.
It's very orange. It looks like a Michael Bay film, but that's because he was actually lit decently. Even Ken here is kind of starting to look.
Yeah,
but
I kind of like it with Bronson because it makes him look like a tanned up.
Exactly.
Like
a juice head.
Yeah, it's just like.
But it's actually, yeah, that's all it was their faces were too bright. It was too bright, and I had to put more contrast artificially into it. Yeah, this was pretty similar actually to how Cody edited it. I just kind of, actually, I don't know if that's true. I can't remember now, but there's Cody right there. We added a little sound effect. Ow, at the last minute today.
Yep. That was the official last edit of Take Me Home.
That was.
It was necessary.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that we're going to look back on and be like, thank Christ we
Yeah,
had that.
I'm so glad we thought of that. Yeah. It had always been like an idea in my head to put that sound effect in, but until I brought it up to you.
Yeah. And I was enthusiastic.
Yeah. They look so evil there too.
They do. They just look like.
Part of that's the color though.
Yeah, and
that shot was also very weird. It had to do a lot of area specific color correction.
I remember one of my biggest fears was balancing all the extras.
Yeah.
Because we had a big space to fill, and I only had 4 people.
Yeah, but you know it works.
Yeah.
That's the other thing is the sound, the environment of the.
Helps.
Oh god, yeah. If you didn't like, once I had that music, starting to put that music in, and I found kind of like the pace and the tone, I was like, yes. Now this is working.
And in part 2 of the post, I'm going to talk about how I tried to balance all the extras and tell a story with them.
There you go.
Yeah, so that's not this part, though. That's the next part.
That'll be later.
I want you to still listen to it, so I'm kind of teasing.
Exactly. You have so much to look forward to.
Yeah, how was it cutting the dialogue scenes? Because I imagine it's very standard, but I noticed you did something, you told me about it in the first.
Yeah, we'll be seeing it again if you continue on to track
2.
Part 2.
Which you should.
You should. At the beginning, which is one of the changes. A lot of this dialogue is Cody's editing. Because it was working. Yeah. I was like, yeah.
Cody's good at cutting dialogue.
Yeah.
I like his dialogue cutting.
But at the beginning.
I never realized what Matt and Ken were doing in the background.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. For the longest time, I just kept watching them actually. But yeah, at the opening scene when she first starts talking to Chad, he's everything he's doing is in wides, and then they continue on, and it's, you know, she's got her medium close up kind of thing, but then we only cut into a close up when he changes the dynamic of their relationship, when he says, no, wait, don't go. Yeah. Then I cut in for a close up, whereas before all of it was in close up.
Yep.
But so that's like using that for more of an effect, I think.
Yeah. Which is,
that's just the way to do it. Come on.
Yeah, I remember in the original, we filmed her flipping off the camera.
Yeah. I made that.
Those are things we just did for fun.
Yeah. And I just, I remember us talking about that earlier, and then deciding that it was kind of, I don't know, it shows that the ending's still kind of petty. Yeah, it's petty.
Yeah.
It's not. Did she win?
You don't want it to be petty. It's like, did she win? No, she's still.
Yeah.
She's just a miserable.
Yeah,
bitch.
I mean, she is still kind of looking at him and laughing. I mean, she is still kind of a little petty, but
it's not as petty.
Yeah, not as petty. It would have been too petty.
Still kind of petty.
Tom Petty. And I like doing these credits. They're fun.
I can tell you put so much effort into
Put a lot of color into them.
We'll see you on part 2.
Yeah, we're going to continue this bitch on part 2, ladies and gentlemen. Keep it real.